What's up everyone? Before we jump right in the video, the method I'm gonna be using from getting you knowing nothing about TypeScript or knowing very little about code blocks to coding in TypeScript is I'm gonna code an example twice, once in code blocks and the other one in TypeScript. This way, if you know code blocks, it's gonna be easier for you to transition to TypeScript, and if not, that's fine. You can just skip to the TypeScript part. Also, the example I'm gonna be coding today is gonna be a light switch. And you need to know absolutely nothing about coding in TypeScript since I'll be explaining everything in full detail.
So basically, to script a simple button, I've done this podium over here where there's a button. It's not interactive, just for demonstration purposes. So to start, we need three gizmos, and this should be easy. So we just need a dynamic light, we need a script, and then we need a trigger. If you've done code blocks before, this shouldn't be anything new. Okay, we're gonna start by writing the script down. It should be pretty easy. Okay, we don't need that when word started. We're just gonna get the on trigger event. So we're just gonna scroll down to player events, and it's called when trigger is entered by player. We're just gonna have this. Okay, and then for the button, when we touch the button, if the light is on, we need to turn it off, and if it's off, we need to turn it on. So we need an if statement, and then we need a variable to save the state of the light. So we're gonna create a variable type of boolean, which is true or false, and it's gonna be called is light on. Okay, so over here, when the trigger is pressed, we're gonna see if the light is on or not. So is light on, it's gonna start by being false. So we're just gonna drag it and place it over here. So if the light is on, okay, in this case, it's gonna start by not being on. So we also need an else statement. So if it's on, we do that, else we do something else. Okay, so when you start, it's not gonna be on. So it's gonna automatically go to the else statement. So when it's not on, we need to turn it on. So we're gonna go to object over here, and then we're gonna scroll down to light, and then we're gonna get the set light enabled. Okay, so we're gonna create a new object to reference the light gizmo. So we're just gonna call it light, and it's gonna be type object. Okay, and then we're just gonna reference the light object over here. Okay, so if it's not on, we're gonna set it to on, and then over here, if it's on, we're gonna set it to false so it turns off. Okay, and we just all that's left is just to update the variable. Okay, for some reason my script disappeared. I just got a new script over here, and then I'll just code everything to where we got last time. So let's go through it again. I still haven't configured the true or false yet, but we'll go over them right now. So when we start, when the trigger is entered, if the light is on, we're gonna turn off the light. So set light enabled to false, and then we're gonna set the is light on to false. Okay, and if the light is not on, we're gonna turn it on. So we're gonna set the is light on boolean to on, and then we're gonna set the light enabled to true. This way it should work. We just need to connect the light entity and the script to the trigger, and it should work. Okay, so we're gonna come over here, we're gonna open the trigger properties, we're gonna go, and it's called button. We're gonna select that script, and then we just need to attach the light gizmo. So we're gonna open the light gizmo over here, we're gonna come over here and place it over here. Okay, and then when it starts, we're just gonna disable that. Okay, so we're just gonna place it on top of this podium, and then we're gonna shrink the trigger, and then just make sure to have it barely on top, because if you have it too much, if it's too much when your hand enters through it, if you just raise it, but if it doesn't come out of the trigger again, it won't register again. So make sure that the trigger is thin. This should work. Okay, let's test it by turning off the lights. Okay, let's test it, and it works. But if you look carefully, because the trigger is thin, when you push on the button, the current placement of our hand is already beneath the trigger. So when we raise our hand, it enters the trigger again. So this is not functional because every time you press the button, it turns on and off. Okay, so I made the trigger bigger, and then we're just gonna place it over here again so we don't have these issues anymore. And it should work. Great. Now let's hop on desktop and do the exact same thing, but with TypeScript instead.